The odd thing about Sullivan's Travels is that Sturgis is both satirizing the socially conscious movies, especially of Frank Capra. In fact, Capra is mentioned a couple of times in the movie. At the same time as he's actually giving honor to those people who are using film to explore some of the darker sides of man's life on this earth, especially among the poor. Because the premise of the movie is you would think, my gosh, I mean, this is a movie about making movies, and it's so early. Gee, I thought we only did that nowadays, that we're smart. But the central figure in the movie is Sullivan, Sully, as he's called by his handlers and bosses.
You see the symbolism of it? Capital and labor destroy each other. It teaches a lesson, a moral lesson. It has social significance.
Who wants to see that kind of stuff? It gives me the creeps.
Tell them how long it played in the music hall.
It was held over a fifth week.
Who goes to the music hall? Communists.
Communists? This picture's an answer to communists. It shows we're awake and not dunking our heads in the sand like a bunch of ostriches. I want this picture to be a commentary on modern conditions, stark realism, the problems that confront the average man.
But with a little sex.
A little, but I don't want to stress it. I want this picture to be a document. I want to hold a mirror up to life. I want this to be a picture of dignity, a true canvas of the suffering of humanity.
But with a little sex.
With a little sex in it.
How about a nice musical?
How can you talk about musicals at a time like this, with the world committing suicide, with corpses piling up in the street, with grim death gargling at you from every corner, with people slaughtered like sheep?
Maybe they'd like to forget that.
Then why do they hold this one over for a fifth week at the music hall? For the ushers?
It died in Pittsburgh.
Like a dog.
What do they know in Pittsburgh?
They know what they like.
If they knew what they liked, they wouldn't live in Pittsburgh.
And Sullivan is played brilliantly by the all-American good guy actor Joel McCrea. Fresh-faced, clean-cut, wholesome, tall, handsome, soft-spoken, good-looking, smart, basically middle America, the best, right? And he's not known any suffering, so he's going to go out and find out how the other half lives. And boy, do we get a movie in which I defy anybody to tell me that they know what's going to happen from moment to moment in this movie.
It is interesting how this film is kind of paradoxically both sort of a message film and making fun of the pretension behind message films at the same time. There's a few kind of funny lines. I think something about something stinks with messages, I think, is one of the lines one of the character uses about these kinds of films. Veronica Lake, who is McCrea's co-star in this this picture, says, "There's nothing like a deep dish movie to drive you out in the open," which is a great line.
And poor Veronica Lake, she was 4'11", and Sturgis sets this up just deliberately because McCrea was a very tall man. So Veronica Lake plays a down-and-out actress who is actually on her way back home, to leave Hollywood for good, when she runs into Joel McCrea in his disguise as a bum, temporarily getting back to Hollywood to sort of restart his attempt to go out among the people and find out how they live. She buys him breakfast, and she's seen the seamy side of Hollywood, and she's sort of disillusioned by it, and she's not at all interested in the kind of movie that Sullivan wants to make. She actually liked those lighthearted, airy, fluffy things.
Yeah, what are some of the things he wrote? Hey, hey in the haystack. Hey, hey in the haystack. Ants in your plants of 1939. Something like that.
It's a movie that is actually very, very hard to describe because the gags come fast. There's a lot of physical slapstick, but there's a lot of really profoundly moving and not ironical, not flippant, because Sturgis is not flippant, right? I mean, Sturgis, this movie others of his movies really depend upon a very real, powerful attraction between men and women. It's the battle of the sexes because it's also this really powerful attraction of the sexes, right? I mean, you gotta have both. A touch of flippancy or snideness would spoil the real comic heart of this movie. And Joel McCrea never in his life did anything that was merely snide or flippant and reductive. That's that kind of thing. My gosh, though, the scenes. See, Veronica Lake. To tell your viewers, right? We don't want to give away too much of the plot here, but Veronica Lake decides to go out with Sullivan. Somebody's got to take care of him after all, because the big lug, he's never really lived sort of on the other side of the tracks. Somebody's got to keep him from getting into all kinds of trouble. And they do actually see much of what is, human suffering, but also the beauty of human beings, even in their suffering.